The woman who laughed at a poor mechanic had no idea that one day his private jet would land right in front of her. In that moment, the entire city would discover the truth she never imagined, and the man she once called worthless was actually a billionaire. Amina had always dreamed of living a life of luxury. She loved beautiful clothes, expensive restaurants, and the attention that came with wealth. In the busy city of Lagos, everyone knew that Amina only wanted one thing: to marry a rich man. For her, love was important, but money was everything. Not far from Amina's apartment was a small mechanic workshop where a man named Malik worked every day. Malik was quiet, hardworking, and kind. His hands were often covered in engine oil, and his clothes were simple. But Malik had a heart full of determination. For years, he had secretly loved Amina. He believed that one day she might see the man behind the grease-stained hands. One evening, Malik decided it was time to tell Amina how he felt. He saved his money for months and bought the best ring he could afford. Then he invited her to dinner at a small restaurant. His heart pounded as he looked into her eyes. Finally, he asked the question that had lived in his heart for years. He asked Amina to marry him. For a moment, Amina stared at the ring in silence. Then she suddenly burst into laughter. The sound echoed across the restaurant as people turned to look. She shook her head and pushed the ring back toward Malik. "I can't marry a mechanic," she said coldly. "I deserve a man who can give me luxury." Malik said nothing, but inside, his heart quietly broke. Just weeks later, Amina began dating a wealthy businessman named David. David drove expensive cars and wore designer suits. He took Amina to luxury hotels and glamorous parties. She proudly showed him off everywhere she went. Whenever she saw Malik in the street, she smiled with satisfaction. She believed she had finally escaped a life of poverty. One day, news spread across the entire city. A powerful international investment company was arriving in Lagos. They planned to build luxury hotels, shopping centers, and a massive new airport. Only the richest and most influential people were invited to the welcome event. David received an invitation, and of course, he brought Amina with him. At the private runway, the guest waited with excitement. Suddenly, a sleek black jet appeared in the sky. The aircraft slowly landed as cameras flashed and people whispered. Everyone watched as the door opened. A tall man stepped out wearing a perfect suit and dark sunglasses. When Amina looked closer, her heart nearly stopped. The man stepping out of the private jet was Malik. Several executives rushed forward to greet him. "Welcome back, Mr. Malik," one of them said respectfully. "The board is ready for you." David looked confused. "You know him?" he asked. The executive smiled. "Of course. Malik owns the entire investment company." Amina felt the world spin around her. The poor mechanic she once mocked was actually a billionaire. Malik slowly turned toward Amina. Their eyes met for the first time in months. Amina tried to smile nervously, hoping he might forgive her. But Malik only looked at her calmly. Then he spoke words she would never forget. "Some people only see value after they lose it." And with that, Malik walked away. Forever. What do you think? Did Amina deserve a second chance? Or did Malik make the right decision by walking away? Tell us your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more powerful stories about love, betrayal, and the truth about money. When Amina realized the poor mechanic she once mocked was actually a billionaire investor, her entire world collapsed. But the real shock had not even begun. Because Malik was no longer the same man she had once rejected. That night, Amina could not sleep. She stared at the ceiling of her luxurious apartment while memories replayed in her mind. The restaurant, the ring, the moment she laughed at Malik. For the first time, the luxury around her suddenly felt empty. She had spent years chasing money, but the man she truly hurt had become richer than she ever imagined. The next morning, Amina opened her phone and searched Malik's name. What she saw shocked her. News articles, business interviews, investment announcements. Malik was now one of the most powerful investors in Lagos. The quiet mechanic she once rejected had built an empire. Amina felt something she had never felt before. Regret. Deep regret. She knew she had made a terrible mistake, and she decided she would find Malik and apologize. Maybe, just maybe, he would forgive her. Later that day, Amina arrived at the headquarters of Malik's company. The building was enormous. Glass walls, luxury cars parked outside, security guards at the entrance. She could hardly believe that this empire belonged to the same man she once called poor. Inside the building, Amina approached the reception desk nervously. "I would like to see Malik," she said softly. The secretary looked at her politely. "Do you have an appointment?" Amina shook her head. "No, but he knows me." The secretary made a phone call. Then she smiled politely. "Mr. Malik will see you." When the office door opened, Amina's heart began to race. Malik stood near the large window overlooking the city. He was wearing an elegant suit, confident, calm, powerful. This was no longer the quiet mechanic she once knew. This was a man who had conquered the world. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Finally, Amina gathered her courage. "I'm sorry, Malik," she whispered. "I was wrong about you." Malik looked at her calmly. His face showed no anger, but it also showed no emotion. Malik slowly walked toward his desk. "I forgave you a long time ago," he said quietly. Amina felt a wave of relief, but Malik continued speaking. "However, forgiveness does not mean going backwards." Amina felt her heart sink. At that moment, the office door opened. A beautiful woman entered the room. She walked confidently beside Malik. Amina stared in shock. Malik gently placed his hand around the woman's shoulder. "This is my fiancé," he said calmly. Amina finally understood. She had not only lost Malik, she had lost him forever. As Amina walked out of the building, the city lights reflected in her tears. For the first time in her life, she understood a painful truth. Money can buy luxury, but it cannot repair the mistakes of the past. And sometimes, the greatest loss is realizing too late what you once had. Amina thought seeing Malik again would give her a second chance. But when she discovered he was already engaged to another woman, her world shattered. Yet the story was far from over. Because sometimes, losing someone is only the beginning of the lesson life wants to teach you. Amina walked slowly out of Malik's office. The door closed quietly behind her. Inside that room was the man she once loved, and the life she had once thrown away. Her chest felt heavy as she stepped into the elevator. For the first time in years, she felt completely powerless. The same woman who once believed she controlled her destiny now realized she had lost the most important opportunity of her life. Outside the building, the city of Lagos was alive with lights and traffic. Luxury cars moved through the streets. People hurried past with their busy lives. But for Amina, everything felt strangely quiet. The same city that once represented success and opportunity now reminded her of her mistake. She had spent years chasing wealth, and in the process, she had lost someone who truly cared about her. Back inside the office, Malik stood by the window watching the city skyline. His fiancée noticed the thoughtful expression on his face. "Are you all right?" she asked softly. Malik nodded slowly. "I'm fine," he replied. But deep inside, memories of the past were beginning to surface. He remembered the small mechanic shop, the long days of work, and the moment his heart broke when Amina laughed at him. Malik's fiancée, Sophia, walked closer and gently touched his arm. She had always admired Malik's strength and discipline. Unlike many wealthy men she had met, Malik had built his success from nothing. That was one of the reasons she respected him so much. "You did the right thing," Sophia said quietly. Malik gave a small smile. But he knew the past had a way of lingering longer than expected. Meanwhile, Amina returned to her apartment. The luxurious space that once filled her with pride now felt cold and empty. She walked slowly through the living room, remembering all the choices she had made: the expensive clothes, the glamorous parties, the rich men she believed would guarantee her happiness. Yet none of those things had given her the peace she once felt when Malik simply smiled at her. Later that evening, Amina received an unexpected phone call. It was David, the wealthy businessman she had dated after rejecting Malik. But the conversation quickly revealed another truth. David had lost a major investment deal. His business was collapsing. And suddenly, the man who once seemed powerful was desperate for help. For the first time, Amina realized something important. The wealth she had chased was never as stable as she believed. Over the following months, Malik's company expanded rapidly. New hotels, new investments, new partnerships across several countries. His journey from mechanic to billionaire became a story many people admired. But Malik never forgot where he came from. He continued supporting small businesses and investing in communities that needed opportunity. One afternoon, months later, Malik attended a charity event hosted in the city. The event focused on supporting young entrepreneurs with limited resources. As Malik walked through the venue greeting guests, he suddenly saw a familiar face: Amina. But something about her had changed. Amina was no longer dressed in extravagant designer clothes. Her style was simpler now, more natural, more genuine. She was speaking with a group of young women about building their own businesses and becoming financially independent. Malik watched quietly from a distance. He could see something he had never seen before: humility. Eventually, Amina noticed Malik standing nearby. Their eyes met once again. This time, there was no tension, no anger, only understanding. Amina walked toward him and smiled gently. "I just wanted to thank you," she said. Malik looked surprised. "For what?" he asked. "For teaching me the most important lesson of my life." Amina continued speaking. "I spent so many years believing money was the most important thing in the world. But losing you helped me realize something. True value isn't measured by wealth. It's measured by character." Malik listened quietly. Then he nodded with respect, because he could see that the woman standing in front of him had truly changed. As the evening ended, Malik and Amina walked in different directions. Their lives had taken separate paths, but both of them carried a deeper understanding of what truly mattered. Success was not only about money, and love was not something that could be replaced by luxury. Sometimes, the greatest wealth a person can have is the wisdom gained from their mistakes, and for Amina, that wisdom came at a price she would never forget. What do you think? Did Amina deserve another chance? Or was Malik right to move on with his life? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories about love, money, and the choices that shape our lives.